To students, let's start with the first topic in history, that is the Indian subcontinent and history. Now, in the fifth standard, we saw that there is a close relationship between man and his environment. We also studied what is history. History is the study of past events of what has happened or what may have happened in the past. So let's go further. Seven continents. Now the chapter name is what? The Indian subcontinents and history. Now we will learn first about the continents. You might be knowing that there are how many continents in the world? There are seven continents. Their names are Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe, and Australia. As you can see in the picture, which is in the dark black ink, they are our continents. Okay, and with the blue ink, they are the oceans that are Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Arctic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and Southern Ocean. Now, on which continent do we live on? Do you all know? We live in the Asian continent. Okay, we live in the Asia continent, and in the Asia continent, which other countries are there? They are India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, Indonesia, Iraq. They are the Asian countries. And from all these continents, which is the largest continent on which we live on? The Asian continent is the largest continent. We'll go further. Geographical conditions and history. Now, what do you mean by geographical conditions? Geographical conditions means how are people's lifestyle, how do they adapt to the climate, what kind of food they eat. That is called as geographical conditions. The first point, history is a coherent account of the significant past events in the progress of human culture. As I told you before, history means what has happened or what may have happened in the past. Now, what do you mean by coherent? Coherent means clear ideas or something which is easy to understand, easy to understand, or different kind of ideas, like the significant past events of the human culture. Go on to the second point. Time, place, society, and individual are the four major pillars of history. Now, without this, history can't be possible. So, what are the four important pillars? You can see in your there is a picture over there. The first is time, place, society, and individual. Because history occurs in a place, and the time we should know in which society does it play takes place, whom does it belong to, that is called as individual. We should know. That is why it is known as the four important pillars of history. Without this, history won't be called as history. Okay, go to the next. We'll go to the next slide. Third point, among these, place is related to geography or geographical condition. Among all this, place is related to geographical condition. Place means in which place do you live. Like for example, you live in a society. You live in a society, your building is in a particular place or in a particular place where you live, for example, in Borivali. Okay, so it belongs to a particular place. The fourth point, history is influenced by geographical conditions in many ways. Thus, history and geography are inseparable. Why is it said that history and geography are inseparable? Because they are always combined. They are always combined. As you might be also know, you can't separate history and geography. That is why we have social study also as a subject. That subject is also one where your marks get combined. Okay, so that is inseparable. The fifth point, our diet, clothing, housing, occupation largely depends upon geographical characteristic of a region in which we live. Now, our diet means the food which we eat. Clothing means the clothes which we wear. Housing is your house. And occupation. Occupation is what? Now, see, in different places, there are people engaged in different occupation. For example, if there are some people, if there are Koli peoples who stay near your house, Koli peoples in your society, if they are staying, so what will be their main occupation? Fishing. They will go for fishing. So that is their main occupation. It depends upon different places. Some places people even plant vegetables. Okay, so that will be their occupation, which they grow vegetables. See, in the picture shown below, there are four things which are the basic needs which we need. Without this, we cannot live. For example, food, water, shelter, clothing. These four things are the basic needs which we cannot live without. Okay, if you don't get a phone for one day, okay, you'll be able to live without it. But these four things you can't live without. We'll go to the next slide. For example, in hilly regions, now what are hilly regions? Hilly region means people staying in the mountainous region. In hilly region, the life of the people is more strenuous than that of the people on the plains. Strenuous means very difficult. Okay. Grains and vegetables are scarce in these regions. Scarce means very less. They do not get food grains properly in the hilly regions, in the mountainous regions, as not much fertile land is available. Fertile land means, now see, to grow crops, what do you need? You need good soil. If the land is not fertile, you will not get good quantity of crops. Okay, is available. Thus, people depend more on hunting and gathering for their food. So, in that places, people mostly go for hunting. Hunting means whatever they get. For example, they go in forest, they collect roots, tubers, fruits, whatever they will get for their living, whatever their stomach gets, whatever they will have sufficient food. Roots are what? Different types of roots. What are the roots? Carrots, radish, they are called as roots. So whatever they find in the forest, they fill their stomachs with that. See, you can see in the picture there are people in the hilly region who are going for hunting or searching for different kinds of foods. We'll go to the next slide. Now, this is about differentiation between hilly regions and plains. Plains are people who are staying in coastal regions, for example, us. And hilly regions are people staying in the mountainous region. So, hilly region, the first point. The life of the people is more difficult. I told you before, there we get food grains, they do not get that much sufficient food grains. The first point of plains, the life of the people is comparatively easier. Easier why? Because we get all types of food. The second point in the hilly region is the availability of food grains and vegetables is less. They do not get food grains. They do not get rice, wheat as we get. They do not get vegetables. Why? I told you why they do not get food grains and vegetables, because their land is not fertile as the people staying in the plains. There the land is fertile. The second point of plains. The food grains and vegetables are available in plenty. In the plains, in the coastal region, there are a lot of food grains and vegetables. The third point, they undertake hunting of the animals and collect fruits and berries from the forest for consumption. Consumption means to eat. The third point of plains, they consume food grains and vegetables in larger quantity. Why they consume food grains and vegetables in larger quantities? Because they have fertile land, so they can grow sufficient food grains. The last point is of hilly region, the availability of fertile land for cultivation is less. I told you before. And the fourth point of plain is the availability of fertile land for cultivation is more. They have more fertile land, so they grow more kinds of crops. We'll go to the next slide. The seventh, the seventh point. The climate, rainfall, agricultural produce, flora and fauna of the region are source of a livelihood. They also influence the lifestyle and culture of a region. Now here you all must have heard two words which are new for you all. like flora and fauna. These two words are new for you. Flora means plants and fauna means animals. These are sources of livelihood. Because of these only we are surviving on the land. Now the next point is they also influence the lifestyle and culture of a region. Now what is lifestyle? Lifestyle means the way of living, how we live, what kinds of clothes do we wear, what kind of religion we adapt. That is called as lifestyle and culture. The eighth point is human settlements have developed in places where means of livelihood living are plentiful. These settlements further developed into villages and towns. The human settlements have developed. Developed means now what do people mostly come to Mumbai to work? Why do they mostly come to Mumbai? Because Mumbai is also called as a city of dreams where people think their dreams will be fulfilled. So they come for their jobs. Now you must be knowing at present what is happening, the lockdown. The lockdown. So what are people mostly doing here? There are no jobs. So where are they going? They are going back to their villages. Why? Because they are not getting food here. There are no work here. There is no work here. They don't have sufficient money. So they are going back to their villages. In places where means of livelihood are plentiful, these settlements further developed into villages and towns. Now, solely villages are getting developed into towns. Towns means cities. The ninth point, sometimes due to degradation of the environment, drought, invasion, etc., people are forced to leave their settlements. As a result, villages and towns become deserted. What is degradation? Degradation means something getting spoiled. The lands are getting spoiled. Degradation, the soil is getting is spoiled. Degradation means worse conditions. What are the worst conditions? Are drought. Drought is where the land starts cracking, where there are cracks in the land. As you can see in the picture there is one man walking where there is no sufficient water. The lands have become dry. They don't have sufficient amount of water. There is no rain. There is no rainfall over there. If there is drought, no water, how people will survive, right? How will they survive? So they decide to leave their settlements. Settlements means their houses. So they have decided to leave the settlements and go back to their villages where they were staying before. As a result, villages and town become deserted. Deserted means lots of crowd become. Now you must be knowing in our city, Mumbai city, there it's become lot of crowded. Why? Because people have left their villages and come to a city, because cities are developed. So they have come to the cities for their jobs. Now as there is no much work, they have gone back to their villages. As you all can see, there is a picture of flora and fauna. Flora means plants and fauna means animals. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. That is your homework. Your homework is you have to find the answers of these questions. The first question is what is history? Second is what does human life depend on? Third, what do the people in the hilly region depend on for their food? Now these question answers you will get it in the slides which I have given. So you can once more go back to all the slides and search the answers. Okay, that's all for now. We will learn more about this lesson in the next video. Thank you for listening, children. Goodbye. Take care.